Morning Year 2. Today is Thursday the 25th of June and we are continuing our learning to do with fractions. Yesterday we were showing quarters and today we're going to be showing thirds. Right, let's mark our work from yesterday carefully. So question 1, we needed to circle the pictures that show 3/4 or 3/4 of the shape shaded, and hopefully we can remember now that when we're talking about quarters we should have a shape that has 4 equal parts, and in this case we're looking for 3 of those equal parts to have been shaded in. So we should have circled these 3 here. Well done. And then on the second page we needed to match the fraction in words to the fraction being shown in the picture on the shape. So 1/4 we should have matched to the rectangle because 1 out of those 4 equal parts is shaded, so it's showing us 1/4 of the rectangle. 2/4 we should have matched to the circle because there are 2 parts out of the 4 equal parts shaded in. For 3/4 there were actually 2 shapes showing 3/4. The triangle shape has 3 out of 4 equal parts shaded, so that one's showing us 3/4. And then this rectangle down here is also shared into 4 equal parts and 3 of them are coloured, so 3/4 are being shown there too. And then 4/4 we should have matched with the square where all 4 of the equal parts are shaded in. And you might have noticed that another way of naming 4/4 would be calling it 1 or 1 whole, because the whole shape is shaded. Today you're going to need the same things as yesterday: your workbook, some paper, a pencil and your partner. Right, let's have a little look at our in focus today. Our in focus is making me feel a little bit hungry actually. So on this slide you can see a picture of a cake, and a cake was cut into 3 parts. You can just see where it's been cut into 3 parts. Now Sam and Holly here took a piece each. How much of the cake did they take all together? So here we're looking for a fraction that's going to tell us how much cake they took all together. I'm just going to read it once more and then you can pause the video and discuss with your partner. The cake was cut into 3 parts. Sam and Holly took a piece each. How much of the cake did they take all together? Have a little talk with your partner. Now then, let's have a look. So in this picture we can see the 3 parts of the cake a bit more clearly. So there's 1 there, 1 there and 1 there. Now Sam ate 1 part out of the 3 equal parts. So Sam ate 1/3. Holly ate 1 part out of the 3 equal parts. So Holly ate 1/3 as well, which means that together they ate 2/3. Now if 1/3 is written like this, 1 part out of 3 equal parts, then 2/3 is written like this, 2 parts out of 3 equal parts. Really well done if you managed to get there with your partner. Now we're going to look a little bit more closely at our fractions today, and we're going to look at 1/3 and 2/3. Now this picture is showing me 1/3 shaded because 1 part out of 3 equal parts is shaded in. Now when we write 1/3, we write a number 1 on the top. Now the number on the top of our fraction is called our numerator. And the number on the bottom, which in this case is a 3 because there are 3 equal parts, is called the denominator. So we've got numerator on the top, denominator on the bottom. The same goes for this one over here. So this time there are 2/3 shaded in, 2 out of 3 equal parts. So my numerator is a number 2 and my denominator is a number 3. Now the numerator tells us the number of pieces, and in this case there are 3 pieces here and 3 pieces here. The denominator tells us how many equal parts the item is divided into. Oh, I might have got a little bit confused there. Let me try again. So the numerator tells us the number of pieces that are being shown or are shaded in. So here 1 piece has been shaded, and here 2 pieces has been shaded. The denominator tells us how many parts the item is divided into. And this circle has been divided into 3, so the denominator is a 3, and this circle has been divided into 3, so the denominator is 3 again. I would like you to pause the video and just read that to yourself once more, and then cover it up and see if you can remember which number in the fraction is the numerator and which one is the denominator. Off you go. Okay, so let's have a look at the fractions we've learnt so far this week. So far we've been learning about 1/2. This is what 1/2 looks like shaded in, and this is what it looks like when it's written as a fraction. And we know it's 1 part out of 2 equal parts, or it's 1/2. We've just had a look at thirds. So here there are 3 equal parts. It's been divided into thirds. 1 is coloured in, so 1/3 is being shown, or 1 part out of 3 equal parts is being shown. And then we've also learnt about quarters, or 1/4. And here the shape has been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. 1 part is shaded. So 1/4 or 1/4 is being shown, and it's 1 part out of 4 equal parts. So we've got a 1/2, a 1/3, and a 1/4, or a 1/4. Now these fractions are all what are called unit fractions. So they're your sort of standard fractions that we're going to be using a lot of coming up and in year 3 too. Again, I'd like you to pause the video, cover up the slide, see if you can remember the 3 different fractions we've been looking at this week. Okay, right, your guided practice today, there are 3 tasks for you. Number 1 says which pictures show 1/3 of the shape shaded. So this time we're looking at that denominator, the number on the bottom, which tells us the shape should have 3 equal parts. It should be divided into 3. And we're looking for 1 of those parts to be shaded in. Question 2, what fraction of the shape is shaded? So this time your answer will be 1/2, 1/3, or 1/4, depending on how many equal parts there are and then how many are shaded in. Number 3, different fractions are being shown to you here. So we've got 1 whole square at the top, which shows 1. Then the next one, you need to work out how many equal parts there are and what fraction has been shaded in. So you're going to write a fraction here, and you're going to repeat that for each shape down in the column until you get to the end. And this one here is a little bit tricky. You need to use your best, most switched on maths brain here to work out which fraction's being shown. Remember, we've been learning about 1/2, 1/3, and 1/4 this week. Pause the video. This should take you again between 5 and 10 minutes working with your partner. Okay, let's have a look together. So question 1, we should have ticked this square because 1 out of 3 equal parts is shaded. We should have ticked this square because 1 out of 3 equal parts is shaded. And then we should have ticked this circle because 1 out of 3 equal parts is shaded in. And we needed to look at that denominator this time. So when we're looking at and thinking about thirds, there should have been 3 equal parts. For question 2, you needed to write your fraction. So what fraction of the shape is shaded? Here, I know my denominator is going to be 3 because there's 1, 2, 3 equal parts, and 2 have been shaded in. So that's 2 out of 3 equal parts, or 2/3. Next one, we've got a hexagon, and this time again there are 3 equal parts and 1 part has been shaded, so that's 1 part out of 3 equal parts, or 1/3. Lastly, our triangle has been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. It's been divided into quarters, and 1 quarter has been shaded in. Question 3, let's have a look. So we should have 2/3, 1/2, 1/2 again, 1/4, and then we should have 1/4 for this one. Now I'm just going to talk about this one a little bit more. So the shape's been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. I'm just going to write down 8 as my denominator to begin with, because I can see there are 8 equal parts. Now out of 8, how many parts have been shaded in? Let's have a look. 1, 2. 2/8 have been shaded. Now 2/8 is the same as 1/4 because 1 out of 4 has been shaded, or 2 out of 8 has been shaded. And you might notice, if you're really switched on this morning, that 1, the numerator here, is half of 2, and 4, the denominator here, is half of 8. So all they've done in the book is made this fraction a bit simpler and turned it from 8ths, which we haven't learnt about yet, into quarters. Really well done if you managed to get that one on your own. Right, let's have a look at your independent work. So we're working on page 101 and 102 today. On the first page, you are circling the pictures that show 1/3 of the shape shaded. Then you are colouring to show each of the fractions. So for this one, you need to show 1/2, then 1/3, then 1/4. Again, you can use any colour or just your normal pencil for that one. And then question 3, you're writing your fractions again. So you're writing the fractions in the boxes. So what fraction's being shown in each shape? For that, think carefully about what your denominator is going to be. So how many parts are there all together? And then your numerator is going to be how many have been shaded. Best of luck, and I'm just going to talk about your optional challenges for today. So we've got 2 optional challenges today. The first one, Becky says, I have 1/3 of a pizza because I have 1 slice and there are 3 slices left. Do you agree or disagree? Explain your reasoning. So read that one carefully to yourself again. Do you agree or disagree? And you could explain your answer by drawing some pictures or by writing a mathematical explanation sentence. Your second challenge says Shania, Leo and Albie each have a piece of ribbon. Shania has 1/2, but a little bit of the picture's been torn away, so you can't quite see everything she had. Leo has 1/4. Albie has 1/3. Who will have the longest piece? Who will have the shortest piece? Explain why. So in this challenge, we're starting to compare the 3 fractions we've been learning about this week. 1/2, 1/4 and 1/3. That one's quite tricky, but I'm sure you can have your best go because I know we're very ambitious in year 2. So good luck, and we'll be back tomorrow.